All right. Good evening, everybody. It's Roden. Different background, new place. All right. Hey, everybody. It's Roden, and we're here to do Eve Station Trading episode 50. Damn. The big 50. Oh my god. Oh my god. So good. So good. All right. I'm in a new place now. Actually, just we're, we literally just moved in the last 2 days, so not a whole lot of we still got a lot of stuff around. I am in terrible need of lighting, but I figure, in all honesty, it's okay. You don't really need to see my face to actually, get a feel for what's going on and what I'm presenting. So that's okay. Seeing my ugly mug is an added bonus, right? With that, man, it's gonna be a big show. Uh, Not so much. I think this is a good prelude to potential things that are that we can show in the future. I'm just gonna come out and go ahead and so I'm in a different gonna be in a different part of space now. So if you guys weren't aware, there was is this not OPSEC at all anymore because we've been getting a lot of hate for this. So I was in Pravi. I am no longer in Pravi. Okay, I'm still with my alliance. I'm not gonna let those. I'm not gonna. Those guys have to do a hell of a lot more to get rid of me at this point. I'm in. I'm in. I'm committed. I'm committed. And we're So I can only speak for myself. Okay. As far as I know, none of this stuff's OPSEC. If anything, there's been a whole lot of propaganda against this stuff already. But Rodin is going to be, the character Rodin is going to be moving to another part of space. Actually, going to be joining Legacy. All right. So I'm going to be joining Old Test Bros. It's funny how these things kind of just happen. I think this is like my third stint with with either with Test proper or as a ally of Test. It's kind of crazy how that works out. But it is what it is. All right. So we're going to be going over our usual segments here, and I'm going to be talking about specifically for a market person, for a cap producer, when you find yourself not necessarily, well, maybe this is pretty appropriate too, right? If you get evicted, or if you find yourself forcibly in another part of space, some way, somehow, how do you adjust to that? How do you roll with those punches? All right, so that's definitely something I want to talk about today because that's what I'm going through right now. All right. But we'll get to that in time, okay? And as always, we'll carry on with our picks from last week and see how they did. All right. We called a buy on geckos. I think we have to institute a thing where we just an item just hits like the when you have to retire an item. It's like retiring a sports jersey or something. We can't. I think the gecko is getting to that point where we have to retire this call. Just me. We have to retire it. We have to, man. All right, we call it buy on geckos. It's still a buy. It's starting to creep up there now. Okay, so let's review the last 7 days or see how it looked. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If you would have bought it then, so that would have been like 95 mil thereabouts, and you're still holding on to that same batch, and it's crossed the. Let's see what it costs right now. So 90. Let's say 95. It's selling for 100 now. It hasn't actually crossed. It actually even has not displayed the proper sell signals yet. That's not bad. You should be able to be in good position to actually sell this in the next few days if it continues to go up there and start displaying the sell signals, which I think it will. Geckos don't tend to sit around sideways on a buy signal for too long, so there's that. There's that. I think if you bought it then, which is that's kind of high though, to be honest, 95. I mean, historically, this is the high, definitely the yeah, it is a historic high for the item. Wow. I mean, it is what it is, but I'm pretty confident this item was that the 5-day moving average will actually cross the 20-day moving average at least for a few days and give you a better opportunity to sell then. Okay, because you're basically piggybacking off of an actual, like a sentiment of people wanting to buy it. That was a good call. That was a good call. All right. So next item. Got Imperial Navy Praetors. Called this several times. Not a whole lot. It's just one of those items that tends to be. It's a great. It's often used like drones in general tends to be used as the platform from which to dump LP as a faction warfare person. It moves well. The high volume turnover tends to give it a lot more stability than you otherwise would think, given that you're literally dumping into it. So it's a really good. I mean, it's a really good. It's not really an investment. It's like the reverse of an investment. It's a really good item to use as a median from which to make to turn LP into ISK basically. Right. So let's go check that out. Wow, it's still a buy. People are still dumping into it. Why are people still dumping into this? Let's investigate. Let's look at the chart first, and then let's investigate. Let's investigate the faction warfare tiers after that. Goes faction warfare woes. It is what it is, man. At this point. All right, let's check it out. So called it a buy. Still a buy. So go back 7 days. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Not a whole lot of changes, but the thing that really gives me the feeling of wow, is this a sustained? I'm surprised that this sell-off had enough steam to keep going. That's really impressive. There was enough actual demand to counter the sell-off and make it last longer. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I guess so. I guess so. All right. So if we had it, man, it's not a whole lot of change. It's 3 mil. So mind you, as well, this is the Jita picture. This is the Forge region picture. I'm almost certain that the actual picture in the Mar proper is actually different. Kula says, what I do is I have a mogul portfolio for each faction warfare faction with their most popular items. That's a really good idea. That way I track the overall movements of each LP value. That is a really great idea to get a... That is a great basket view of faction warfare items. That's awesome. That's awesome. I should have done that. That's pretty good. That's a really good idea. Wow, okay. I'll have to copy that method. Is it flippable at least? I know from. Oh, you know what? It's too. I don't know if that. Right now, that it might be too tight. Right now, it might be too tight. 3.1 to 2.7. Wow. Yeah, I guess so. 17%. Wow. Okay. 17% difference. It's a really good thing to flip because there's people are still dumping into it, so you're going to have an active supply of people matching your buy orders. It's just the real question is, are people willing to buy it at this price? Based on the chart and how it's gradually going down, it doesn't sound like it. So, what's a reasonable expectation from something like this? That the sell price of 3.1 it's gonna get closer and closer to 2.7 or whatever the buy price ends up being until it meets like this balancing point, and then it's gonna go even lower or actually reverse straight up. So something to consider, guys. Something that's my anticipation of the Imperial Navy Praetor picture. The buy and sell is gonna get more narrow, and then from there it's gonna go one way or another, and then that's the real kind of crossroads of that price. Cool says mostly used by radar, so demand is not very elastic. Yeah, that's true. These are really good riding drones, especially in Mars space. So this has the correct damage type. So yeah, it really is good. Alphas can use it, so you can use these on your VNIs, which can also be used by alphas. So there is. I mean, I hate to say it, but it's like the lowest common denominator can use it, so there should be genuine demand for it. Hate to say it like that, but that's kind of, objectively that's what it is. All right, guys. Next item is the drone epidermal shield chunk. So this is an input for the excavators. Cool says probably writing took a hit though. Yeah, it did. Yeah, it really did. I mean, as of last week or even a little bit more after that, there wasn't a lot of places where you can effectively rat as a Provi person without without accidentally increasing the ADMs of PL space, of PL held systems rather. So there's that. I called the buy for this item. Drone epidermal shield chunk. Oh, it's still there. It's literally, it hasn't changed. It hasn't changed. Okay, not a whole lot there. Let's see if it's flippable though. 26 to 30, I think it is. Totally, 15%. 15%, man. Um, and we talked about this last week too. So we have these items that are effect. This is like super flat on the chart, right? But the difference is still enough because it's kind of cheap enough per item that people are okay to actually continue to buy and sell it locally, right? And the margin's super small though. Like that's kind of subjective though, Akulo. Like for me, 15%, that's a lot. I'm used to I'm used to sub I'm used to between 5 to 10%. If I can get something 5 to 10% solid, I just sit on it all day. But anything above 10, I'm like, oh my god, it's above 10%. Well, then that's kind of that's a style issue though, isn't it? That's a trading style issue, not necessarily not a whole lot more beyond that. And I guess what kind of rewards are you willing to work for, right? What else we got here? Cool says I look at absolute values personally. 5,000 per item is just not enough for me. Yeah, I get that. I totally get that. But if you play enough, again, miss because I tend to be. Well, I'm okay playing volume, so it's one of those things. When I trade, I don't even think about. I'll be honest. Like when I trade, I don't even think about trading for profit. I'm more of a. I'm looking more towards playing the numbers in such a way to reach like balance, not necessarily profit. I don't know if that makes sense to anybody, but it's like I'm actually just doing it for the pleasure of doing it because it's fun to find that balancing point and like be an agent that actually does that for the market. Like that feels cool to me. I mean, I haven't traded for profit in a long time. I haven't done anything for profit in a long time, to be honest. I'm more concerned with lately. I've been more concerned with processes and methodology and making them efficient, but not necessarily doing it to seek profit. Because I know if I have a good system in place, I have there's no choice for the system but to reward me with profit. You know what I mean? So cool says I can't be bothered trading volume, so I stick to secondary, tertiary hubs. Yeah, that's good. I used to do that. I used to do that. Definitely. Like when I moved between Ren's, Heck, and Dixie, oh my god, that was good. That was good. But then it started dying. Then I moved back to Jita. That's what it is. So drone epidermal shield chunk, trade of flippable, but still at a buy. And I don't see. I can't see the forces that would force that. I cannot see the forces that would cause this item to go lower, because it hasn't manifested itself in all this time, which is really strange. If something were to happen, it should have happened by now, I would think. Cool says my system is set up orders, watch Mogul for orders, order fill notifications, and go back 3 weeks later. Not gonna lie, that's kind of like been my thing too, but without any tools. I do the exact same thing in the MR, but no tools. I just sit on things. I basically just straight up lockfox style. Just sit on. Eventually it'll sell. Eventually these buy orders will get matched eventually. Like, and they do, they really do. It's just one of those things. It's kind of cool that it took this long for me to realize that I've started to adopt my style more to like my Eve idols. You know what I mean? It's kind of cool. At least that's how I understood his methods. You know, he's a super long game kind of guy. Yeah, mid to long term. Yeah, basically, I wait long enough, everything's profitable. That's totally my style. Super lazy. And like, how, and I kind of talked to my alliance mates about that, like my particular style of trading. They're like, "How are you managing to survive?" And like, dude, I don't know. I manage the systems, and the system rewards me a profit, and it's just enough for me to be survivable out there. That really is it. I don't rat. I don't mine. I don't really even trade. I do it just for I do it to show people, and I do indulge myself in trading. But I don't play Jita. I play Amar. That's a big difference. It's a different style of trading. Doing the whole cap building thing, but any kind of production, any kind of comprehensive production line of any sort, you will need some trading skills. You have to. Otherwise, you're putting yourself in a position where you're mining for your own inputs, and like, no, I'm not mining my own minerals because minerals aren't free, and I value my time more. So. Yeah, small faction war for hubs. Yeah, when I was really in it, I played Ichiria and I played Heck. My big two. My big two, Ichiria and Heck. It's good. It's good. Even as a producer, actually dumping small Tech 2 modules there. So good. So good. Alright, so that was all for our buy calls from last week. Now let's move on to our sell calls. We called P4 cells last week as a category. QVR asked the smaller hubs are basically dead now, though, right? I can't say that as a matter of fact right now. I'm not gonna lie. I've neglected my faction warfare character for a few months now. So Aquila might be a better person to ask that. Cool says not really. There you go. It's a matter of scale and perspective, though, right? Like what's dead? All right, P4s. So call this as a cell. It's really strange. Usually it's the other way around, right? Broadcast node still a cell. Okay, great. Integrity response drone still a cell. Great. Nanofactory still a cell. Looks like it's about to correct. It may correct kind of hard here too. It's starting to like a more than 10% change in the last 3 days. So it looks like it's people figured that the jig is up. I think on nanofactories. If you have nanofactories ready to sell to market, I highly suggest you do that now. You might get caught like off cycle on this thing otherwise. So let me repeat that. If you have nanofactories, P4s, nanofactories that are ready to sell right now, do it like right now. you might get caught on the bad end of this reversal in like within the next 2-3 days. So be warned, please. Of course, they set up a lot of orders, just wait for them to get filled. You have zero competition usually. Yep, so true. You can do the same thing in a lot of all regions too, if you have the patience. All right, sell down the factories if you got them. Organic motor applicators seem to be evening out, seem to be meeting its balancing point, but at an increased, it's plateauing at an increased price level basically, which is good. That means there's a genuine demand for these things. Let's talk about that in a little bit, but before demand. At least how I kind of envision it. Recursive computing module still going up there. That's man, that makes me feel good to see that. Recursive computing module was my moneymaker for months. For months, I built nothing but recursive computing modules and wetware mainframes, and made me billions, man. Self-harmonizing power core is starting to evening out, but at an elevated price, much like the other ones, which is good. It's not reversing in a very aggressive manner, which is good. It gives you a little bit of time to kind of think about it and see what you want to do. Oh wow, so there's nothing stopping sterile conduits right now. Why are people so interested in this? People are just capturing it straight out of cell site. Why this one? Maybe it's because it's just genuinely cheap. It fell really hard, maybe? Nah, it doesn't even look like that. Not on the history. Cool says if you have Coors, now's the time to sell. 56.74. Ooh, crap. I mean, it's a good ship. To be that good, I don't know. Used to buy them for 40, yeah. That's about right, yeah. Our mainframe. Oh, it's actually kind of aggressive reversal. Expected. We definitely talked about this last week. When you see something in a mania, expect an equal reaction. Right? You should prepare yourself as if an equal reaction is going to happen right then and there. Just saying. Hey, Veronica, what's up, man? I'm totally about to like shill for you right now for Basgarin. Oh man, I have so much stuff to build in Basgarin, bro. So much stuff to build. We'll see. I just placed my buy orders like literally like 2 hours ago for more minerals. All right, so that's the P4 picture right now. I'm really surprised that there was enough sentiment to keep all of this up. None of them reversed, not yet. That is so surprised. I am genuinely surprised. Is this? I mean, it makes sense though, right? Because we're about what? Not even 2 weeks into the low power change to structures. But usually structure changes like that, especially when you look at the PI. It's not even speculation because it's so obvious. It's not even speculation. Actually, yeah, maybe if you put it in the context of time of like go back 3 months or even 6 months, right? But based on what we have in front of us right now, I'm really surprised that there wasn't enough of a aggressive reversal. I mean, like the only thing I can think of is there's just that much supply that it couldn't technically make that aggressive reversal because of the sheer amount of available supply. Yeah, I guess so. Oh yeah, that's right. High sec booms. That's right. Oh wow. So that's the P4 picture. If you still have these in your inventory or you're about to finish um, these producing these from your factory planets, you might want to consider selling it now. Otherwise, you're gonna get caught in the bad side of this reversal. To be honest, I'm really surprised you even have this much time. Like when I called this last week, I was like, oh my god, sell it now, sell it now, sell it now. But looks like you had more time. But now that the 5-day moving average is actually starting to trend down, now it's getting real now. The reversal is getting real. So take that as you can take that as you want, right? Dronica asks, I'd like to see stats. Says I'd like to see stats from Quant about what was anchored. Ooh, that's a good one to look into, actually. Well, if you couple that with the low power state, I don't think there would have been as much of a demand as we would have thought, right? Because, well, it's not, because it's such an active, it is an active activity, right? If someone were to install a refinery in high sec for the purpose of, of moon mining in high sec in 0.5 systems, then one would think that they would actually keep them alive, right? Actually care about them, right? One would think. That's high sec. No one knows what these high sec people do, or what they're thinking most of the time, because it's some of it's just like randomness. I did it because I could, those types of things. Very like kind of short term experience type things. I just did that. There you go. It's like unrigged CTOs. Oh, it's disgusting. Why would you do that? Why? Why? So much risk. I can't imagine having that much money at my disposal. That's nuts, guys. Come on, that's nuts. The poors. No. Oh, the Eve poors. I'm surprised people are still poor these days. Why is that? Because it's so much easier to make money now than when we started, right? It's crazy. All right, next item that we called out for sales last week: drone coronary unit, another input for the excavator drones. I think this is one of the more expensive ones. Yeah. Called it as a sell. Man, that was a good call. Holy shit, that was a good call. Mr. Alves says, why should we buy materials? We will get to that portion. That's towards the latter part of the show where I talk about the calls for this week going into the next week. We will go through them, and I'll explain why I make those calls based on the appearance of the in-game graphs. Stop rubbing it. Ronan is homeless both in-game and IRL now. That's true. Sorta, kinda. I know. So I moved to Madison, Wisconsin. I totally need to join an Imperium meet before I head out overseas. Like, for real. I gotta get information on when the Imperium meets are in Madison. I've never been to an Eve meet. I'm super excited to actually join one. So let's go back 7 days on the drone coronary unit and kind of see how this panned out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. When I looked at this, it would have been like right here. Okay, great. It would have been the last possible time to actually get it at an increased value. That's kind of. I wonder if this is one of those things like, oh, this would have been a better call like 2 days prior, but I mean, at the time it was still technically a sell sign. So are you joining Imperium? No. I'm not cool enough, man, to be joining like big groups like that. Oh, I'm not cool enough. Not cool enough. So that would have been. I'm almost certain that's what I called it last week, but this is what it is. Just by the cyclic nature of the drone coronary unit, it's getting kind of easy to actually spot this. So if you are an active producer of excavator drones, you should be able to predictably price out your finished excavators based on the price of the drone coronary unit, or at least have an idea of where the price is going to be going, because this is one of the more expensive inputs. Dragon says you can make more ASIC in the smaller alliances, probably. Yeah, probably. A little bit more room, right? Long live in the fisher markets. I'm gonna miss Pravi. Talking about inefficient markets. Holy crap! Wow. And you know what? I think I just on the tangent on that comment, long inefficient markets, and me responding with Pravi. I think one of the main things that keeps Pravi an inefficient market is because it doesn't see a whole lot of turnover. There's not a lot of fresh blood that goes in there that actually wants to change things for the better. And when you come across characters like that, they, for one reason or another, they end up leaving, or forcibly or not forcibly, finding another home. So there's that. I'm gonna use myself as an example on that one. I mean, I'd like to think I made a show, even if it's a small one, at least in my pocket, right, and a market impact when I was there. Um, I don't think guys like me tend to aren't. There's not enough guys like me in Pravi. There's not enough guys like us, actually, I should say. There's not enough guys like us in Pravi. If there was, I think it can be more competitive from a supply perspective. Coolest is the elite PvP attitude. Yeah, I get that, yeah. Shraka says that were they shut down from the top, anyone who wanted to help? I can only speak from my alliance, man, but we definitely work together very closely. Uh, from the newest member to the oldest person there, so we were a pretty open alliance. I can't speak of anybody of any other group, to be honest. Like, we don't need those nicking miners. You do need miners, but yes, you have to find a good balance between your harvesters and your fighters. You need to. Right, so you don't want more miners. You want people to organize where it goes, so it doesn't just go to Jita. Yeah, and one of the things I was actually talking to my alliance folks about is like, hey guys, I think I understand that we're using mining as an income source, but to be honest, based on where we're at and kind of like how easy it is to make money in nullsec in general, there's more value in mining as a strategic activity than it is an income making activity, to be honest. So that's just my perspective of it. That's the perspective of someone who hasn't mined in years, mind you. So there's that. But I totally agree. Like, large scale harvesting activities should be better controlled and better directed so that it's efficient and so that people don't burn out and they feel rewarded when they do it, because it can be kind of cumbersome to organize at that level. So did we have any moons? Yes, we actually did have moons. We did have moons. We had refineries. We had the works, man. We had the works. Gerard's totally true. If you don't have to rely on Jita or for your ore, you can stockpile. I extracted all of my mining skills on all across all my characters at a time. I was running 4 characters deep at the time. Extracted every single one of them, all the mining, skills, because I knew, as a matter of fact, as a single person, single character, in Eve, I could gather more minerals by not mining. I can gather more minerals via the markets. So I was like, well, what do I need all this mining skills for? I'm just gonna place buy orders and gather more minerals than that mining fleet right there. Just saying. Cool says, I heard if you transfer your core structures to Veronica, PL will leave it alone. Sounds like fake news, Akulo. Bro, that sounds like fake news. Or is it though, Veronica? Is it? We'll see. Maybe. It would have been cool, like to have Eve Mogul, the brand Eve Mogul in Pravi. What kind of a world is that? To have the Eve Mogul structures, Eve Mogul brand, front and center in Pravi. That's a world I can live in, man. Totally. That's a world I can live in. Not gonna lie. It seems appropriate given the very open nature of Pravi, to be honest with you. Mogul franchise. For real, man. For real. Mogul franchise. Alright, then we call the Munin and the Vagabond. We'll start with the Munin first. Still a cell. Why? Is this must be a doctrine change. It has to be. This has to be a doctrine change. Who changed their doctrine to this? Hmm. Okay. I actually have something to piggyback off this, but we have a segment for that one. All right. So still a cell. Straight up, still a cell. People still want this stuff. Next one's Vagabond. Uh, all right. It started to pick up again. It did this really soft correction. Then it started to pick up. Okay. All right. In volume too. It's good. Sebastian says assault damage controls make hacks interesting again. Yes, totally. About middle of last week, I was in a fleet of we were a fleet of Feroxes, and we went against an Eagle fleet. I don't think we killed a single one of them. I honestly don't think we killed a single one of them. We got stomped pretty hard, pretty quickly once we realized that it wasn't an appropriate matchup. It really wasn't, you know. So and that's one of the things we were calling for this week as a sell is the Eagles. They're good, and from that experience, I was like, wow, we got curb stomped by a bunch of Eagles, and we had the numerical superiority from what I remember. Not a whole lot much, no, not a whole lot more, but like pound for pound, Eagles versus Feroxes. I mean, what are you gonna do with that, you know? Oh, PI promise is dumping my recursive computing modules. Dude, if you have it by volume, yeah, why not? Why not? Why else? While it's still hot, do it, dude. Battleship, who says battleships going to move as well? I hope so. I hope we find ourselves in a battleship meta again. That'd be nice. We're getting quality of life improvements. Yep, totally. Digging it, digging it. It dropped 530. Oof, takes a while to make 530 use of those things, man. Is that all our? Yep. So that's all our recap stuff. Okay, great. So next thing I want to talk about, guys. I don't think we can put too much on this, but just want to give you guys an update on my progress with my cap production in Basgrin. So this weekend, the ECs in our pocket actually were saved. It's just that, but the job was lost. So I lost an Inazu job, unfortunately. But it is what it is. You know, what are you gonna do? So if you have a job in an EC and it hits your armor timer, job's done. Job's done. The industry little button just grays out and then you're done. All right. So what am I doing now with that in mind? So with that in mind, now mind you, this was before I heard anything else. I just want to restart my cap production. I obviously can't do it anywhere in Providence. Not gonna happen. It's too dangerous. All right. So what I ended up doing is actually making push X. I love you guys. Like I never actually used push X before, but definitely I'm gonna link them right now. Oh, cool. Says, Road, I have homework for you. Come up with 10 items for each faction warfare faction that would together be a good indicator of LP value. Yeah, I can totally do that. I have a pretty good list in my hand that I've always used since I tend to travel between each faction, depending on who's up, who's down. I have a character that can actually go to every other faction. I have personal experience on effectively what to dump my LP on. I can definitely give you a list. Totally give you. I can totally do that. I can totally do that. Yeah, yeah, totally, man. I'll make a basket on my account and put up screenshots on our on our Discord. I guess that'll be the best way to do it, right? All right, so I just linked guys push X. So what I ended up doing is from Providence, I started moving my minerals out. Um, yeah, it was a lot, man. Oh, no, no, not really, not really. Just a couple of jump freighters worth. Basically one max freighter load of what a push X contract can be through HiSec. So a bit over, I think it was 1.2 million M3, something like that. 1.2 million M3 of pyrite and titanium got moved from Providence to one jump from Basgarin. And then from there, I moved it over to the Basgarin Eve Mogul Sotillo, and And today actually I placed the remaining mineral orders to create an Archon, and then from there, I'll make another set of orders to create a Thanatos. So at the very least, I have 2 pending carrier builds in Basgarin. Write down that system. Alright, so that's the Basgarin system. It's like 6 jumps or something like that from Dodixie. So that's where I placed my buy orders from the Botane Market Citadel there, also owned by Eve Mogul. So this is totally shilling time. But no one else has these types of structures in this organized manner. Not that I know of. Nobody else has this. Nobody else has this. So that's why if there's an Eve Mogul structure somewhere, I really do use it. Like brand loyalty means something. Brand loyalty means something, man. And no, I'm invested. I'm invested. I gotta do it. I gotta do it. I gotta do it. Uh, IRL says I think kind of price will go back down again. We'll definitely discuss that. We'll definitely discuss that. I haven't seen. It's been a long time since I've seen my Carol in this kind of technical picture. So it's a bit of a shit show right now, basically. That's what I'm getting at. It's a bit of a shit show. All right, but we'll get there. We'll get there. Cool says, thinking about trading a drum freighter. Do the race really matters in your opinion? Yes, yes, absolutely. If you want to go for hauling capacity, it must be a RIA. Must be a RIA. If you care about anything else, then just pick whatever looks cool to you, I guess, to be honest. But if you're not getting it for hauling capacity, then like, do you really even need a drum freighter? Right? Push X will do low sec ones. They're just super expensive. they're ridiculously expensive. Like, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. Rather just piece by piece just get my ships in, or just park it in the high sec, to be honest. Alright, so that's the state of my cap production right now. Alright. At the very least, 2 jobs in Bascarin. Very least. Alright. So this week I found myself homeless for a little bit. Not necessarily homeless, but like I'm figuring stuff out. All right. So what happened? I think there's an INN article on this. Let me find it. I'm almost certain there is. Got it. So this is TLDR brought me some fire. I have some comments about that for sure. I definitely have some comments on that. So what I just linked, guys, is an article from INN talking about Providence and how the Provi block is basically kind of we're basically running around like headless. We were running around like headless chickens. All right, but why is this important to me? It's important to me because I used to be my alliance used to be part of that block. As of yesterday, we are no longer part of that block. All right. We're still figuring out exactly where we're gonna be. We have an idea. I am basically going to Legacy Space. That's where I'm gonna be working out of. That's the Rodin, the character, the Eve Online character is gonna be. All right, it's gonna be in Legacy Space. I am not gonna be, as a market person, as a production person, I am not gonna be tied down to a single constellation. I am not going to be tied down to a single system. I'm basically going to be like a traveling salesman in all of legacy space. That's what my intention is, to be honest. I'm going to be there basically just I'm going to be hustling contracts and buy orders. Hustling contracts and buy orders. That's my goal. Because I've worked with a lot of people through our investment mechanics here, through our investment groups, and our various operators. Cool, so you may as well join test. I'm not cool enough, man. Come on, bro. Come on, bro. Come on, man. I'm small time. Is my corp going to join test? That's a great question, because I am, as of right now, as of time of recording, Rodent is in an NPC corp. I must leave it at that. I'm in an NPC corp. Rodent is in an NPC corp right now. I want to make sure I end up in legacy space. I'm gonna leave it right there. I want to make sure I end up in legacy space, but Rodent is in NPC corp right now, trying to figure stuff out. Oh my god. Somebody accept this app. Please. Somebody vouch me in. I'm in vouch mode right. I am totally in vouch mode right now. So, I don't know what's going to happen. I am corpless at the moment. So we'll see. Who says you can't tell us, we won't tell you. Not like anyone listens to us anyways. Bro, that's so true. That's so true. We'll see. I mean, that's the intent. I guess everything is really up in the air right now. Yeah, I am corpless. Me and and one of the main things too, I guess, a very good distinction between how I felt about Pravi and how I'm feeling about going to legacy space. When I was in Pravi, I didn't feel compelled to go 2 accounts deep into to a single corporation or alliance. But with this one, I'm like, I need both accounts. So I'm going in like deep into like full commitment into wherever I end up. Okula says, well, I can't talk about it, man. It's no, I can't really, man. I can't. But I am not a Valkyrie Knight at the moment. Silent Gear's like, Horde is listening. Horde's a good group, man. I'm not gonna lie. I have a lot of contacts. I have some good market contacts in Horde. You guys really gotta tighten your shit up. Like, seriously, you guys gotta tighten your shit up. Just saying. Just putting that out there. Yeah, so as a market person, in this capacity, so when I say market person, what do I really mean by market person? I don't mean just, so if you're, I don't mean this to be derogatory, but if you're just a miner, it's not quite the same as someone that plays the market, plays the contracts, halts, doesn't rely on farming his own inputs. We're 2 different types of people. We're 2 different types of players. Okay. So when a guy like you has to move, when a dedicated miner has to move, he has to move with the intent of how do I recover? How do I get back to being able to mine effectively? How do I get back to be able to safely fly my Rorqual? Go to Delve for one. Go to Delve, please. If you're like, I want to fly Rorquals all day and don't be bothered, please go to Delve. Just saying. But if you're like, oh, I want to see what the market looks like what's the best way to exploit this, via buy orders, via contracts? Who do I talk to get dedicated services? Who do I talk to get dedicated ore sellers? Things like that. You're going to have to there's no playbook for it. There's no playbook for this. So one of my main one of the first things I ended up doing, in light of this move, is asking people, A, anybody have any contacts for Test? A, anybody have any contacts for Brave? A, anybody know anything about this space? What's the coalition marketplace? All these things, man. All these things that a lot of the times, like beginning industrialists, beginning miners don't even think about. They think because it's like these are like levels above them, which it really shouldn't be. You should really be actually be thinking about this stuff actively. Oh, it says you can't tell by addressing yourself in the third person will confuse the spies if you use Yoda methodology. Maybe. Cool says traders are hyenas. We follow the herds of grazers. Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. That is so true. Close, but not too close. Yeah, yeah, you're right. Because they're the customer base. I have to serve the customer base, right? Either serve or take advantage of them. Kind of interchangeable, right? Yeah. So for me, what are my intentions? My intention is to basically be keenly aware of where the coalition marketplace is. So how is that? So there's a lot of I try to explain this like there's a different hey guys, there's a difference between coalition marketplaces and your regional marketplace. Because a coalition that actually encompasses several regions will still have this is where the majority of our items are bought and sold for whatever reason. May it be number of jumps across the space that we own, or because of the facilities that are involved, whatever the case may be. We have, a handful of places where if you need something in game, if you check this place out first, there's likelihood that it's going to be available versus going all the way to Jita or Ramar just to haul it back in. Cool says there's no point asking non-traders about how markets look in those spaces. They have no idea. That's true. You have to grab an NC and take a look yourself. That's literally what I'm about to do. Because but there's one thing I gotta do before I actually do that. I actually have to evac my wormhole. So all this time, I've actually been living out of a wormhole as well. So I have to get all the stuff out of there because for you guys that are intending to live kind of deep into null, and by deep I don't mean like super super deep, but a null region where you don't have a border high sec or low sec system. A lot of the times, even your sinos actually have to be in the same corporation as you. You can't just be willy-nilly use neutral sinos like you could safely in Providence, right? So I basically have to rearrange my characters and put them in the appropriate corporations and all these things before I can actually apply for corporations again. I have to basically fix myself first. So yeah, there's that. Cool says I judge alliance coalition markets by the logistics efficiency. That's a really good metric. If they have good logistics, they'll have good markets. It kind of has to be, right? That's actually I'm gonna use that as a piggyback point real quick. So my alliance prides themselves, and rightly so, on in-house production. But if they're going to a new place and you have to restart, then there is no in-house production yet, right? So at least in the beginning, you kind of have to rely on people hauling for you or finding out where the actual market is and just using that one. All right, it's just one of those things. As far as other pieces of information that'll be relevant to you for relocating, resituating yourself, knowledge, check it out yourself. Take the time to check it out yourself. And another thing too is if you're a jump freighter pilot and you're wanting, of course, you probably would like to be your own hauler. Staging your sino chains. You need to be able to move your own stuff effectively and safely. Another thing too is if you're living kind of deep, and this is a method that I've lived through that I live with for a while now, ever since having to do really surprise move ups for my own gear. If you can't move yourself in one day, you probably have too much stuff. If you can't move yourself in one day, you probably have too much stuff. In light of that, all the stuff that I accumulate in Provi, I asset safety did. Straight asset safety. Undock, right click, moved asset safety. Everything. Like several million M3 worth of pyrite and titanium is sitting in the ether right now because of that. So cool. So what you're saying is they have no logistics. I didn't say that. Because self-sufficient basically means we can't move stuff. I can move my own stuff. That's what's important. I can move my own stuff. So yeah, I mean it's gonna be growing pains, but I think it's gonna be a good. In the end, I think UI Federation is gonna be in a better spot versus say 2 months ago until now. So there's that. That's my view of that. I think this is a definite upgrade. This is not even just a lateral move. This is an absolute upgrade. More competitive content, better content in general. So end of an era. That's okay. That's okay. It's okay for eras to end because there's a reason why they're dying, right? And hopefully something better is going to be replacing them. Provi Ideal is on the ropes. I agree. I agree. I think in this day and age, I mean, you have to think, to be honest, I'm surprised NRDS lived as long as it did. I'm really surprised it survived as long as it did. It's not practical. It's really, it's not like it's one thing to have that if no one wants your space, then you can totally survive. But to have that ideal, to have that security methodology when people are actively seeking out your space, bro, that is not good. That is not good. Because you've effectively can't your ideals basically says I can't hit back until people have taken my stuff. What is that? That doesn't make any sense, guys. Come on. This is Eve. This is Eve. This is Eve. Yeah, I mean, it's not gonna work if people want your stuff. Cool says, I don't think it was nerds by itself. It was lack of long-term vision from leadership. I can't speak of that. I cannot speak of that. I just don't have that kind of vision. I don't. I only speak of the activities that happened in my pocket, and how, yeah, me personally, like it felt helpless most of the time. Like, oh, I can't do it. I know this guy's enough, but I can't do anything. I know he's gonna kill me if I adopt. But he's a neutral. I can't do anything. Well, there's a weekend. We'll see. I forgot anything else here. I think that's all of it. I don't have any imports or exports. I was literally like panic moving my stuff until I just until I got to the point where I'm just gonna asset safety it, and then I was done moving. When I moved to MNC, or wherever in legacy space, I'm basically just gonna be me, myself, and an interceptor. It's gonna be a total restart. Total restart. I'm actually looking forward to it. I'm very much looking forward to it. I have a lot of stuff to sell still in Empire, so. Cool says Jinten touched on that many times. No, yeah, he did. He did. PI provinces flying more capitals would help too. It's a whole system involved with flying capitals, man. It's not just the numbers are good. I don't know if we have the consistency. And Akulas makes the point of capitals require an efficient industrial backbone. That's so true. And if your ECs keep getting hit, and people just go, we're not gonna bother until Hull, your jobs are lost. Your jobs are lost. Literally, potentially billions of ISK worth of ships gone to the ether. Not even on a kill mill, So there's that, Hopefully, Pravi survives. Part of me wants it to survive, and part of me wants it to actually have a fresh start. That sounds so bad, but that's honestly how I feel about it. Would it? Is it so bad for Pravi to have a head start and not be an NRDS system or an NRDS region? It's definitely gonna lose its uniqueness if that happens. Cool says indie guys take that kind of a hit without Pravi's help. and they cut their losses and run. Yeah, I did. I did absolutely. I was like, you know what? No one bothered to help with these ECs at the coalition level. Well, I'm gonna take my consistent business elsewhere then. I'll take that shit to Basgarin, where it can be tanked by the simple name of who supports such structures. Name tanking is awesome. Feels powerful. All right, let's move on to our calls for the week. That's really all I wanted to touch on besides outside of the calls. All right, I love it. Ferrite carbide. We've seen like the Minmatar hacks we just shown from last. Now let's take a look at the Ferrite carbide. So what is Ferrite carbide? It's an advanced moon reaction that is connected to the production of Tech 2 Minmatar, not just ships but modules as well. This looks weird for one. Cool says, look at Goons, where they have a guy responsible for the whole Indian network. That's what successful coalitions will have to emulate. Yeah, you're right. You're right. I mean, as long as the guy is available, I mean, barring a hit by a bus clause, yeah, I mean, you'll be able to survive. Yeah, definitely. So for that carbide, we've seen an increase in production, not production, an increase of demand of Minmatar items based on recent changes to hacks. Okay, how is that going to affect the look of the market right now? Right now, I think what we're seeing in front of us is a technical correction to the manic state of Ferrite carbides. I think it is. I have a hard time believing that this is actually directly linked to production and not more a sentiment for the moon material. If you couple this with the recent not so recent changes to refineries, how things are actually processed, the sheer location and makeup of moons and moon materials now, From I'm only gonna attack this at the technical perspective, the technical analysis perspective. Right now, if you are in the market for buying something that moves with volume, and it's near a 90-day low. It's really hard. It's really difficult to not buy Ferrite carbide right now. However, I must caution you. The mean price, which is the orange dot, is below the 5-day moving average, which is the blue line, which is below the 20-day moving average, which is the orange line. It looks like this still has room to go down. From a purely technical perspective, technical analysis perspective, it looks like it still has room to go down. I would be observing this thing like a hawk, but like if it doesn't completely flip like by tomorrow, I would probably buy this. I would totally buy it. If you can get this as close to 200 as you can, I think you're going to be in good shape. See what, because it's actually under 200 for buy right now. What I'd hate for this to happen, what I would totally hate to happen, is this becomes like a strong thing where, oh my god, 90-day low, but it keeps going down. That would suck, man. I would actually be careful. So if you can get, it looks like you can actually at least place the buy orders at under 200 right now. Would it get matched? I think it will. I think it actually will. Oh, Toxic, what's up, buddy? I think it will. But if it goes below like 170, I'd really get scared. I would actually get scared. But I have a hard time believing that it's going to continue to go down for long because of the demand for hacks right now. We saw the demands for mutants. We saw the demands for vagabonds. But at the same time, I'm going to throw that whole sentiment angle to those ships as well. Are those ships actually effective in the current meta with the assault damage controls? Or are people just grabbing it because, oh my god, new item and only hacks can use them. Buy up all the hacks. You know, we won't know until things start dying or not being fielded at all, right? In proper combat. We're actually not gonna know the actual state of hacks until those things start happening. The only thing I can actually tell you guys from my personal experience is my experience fighting eagles. We got demolished. I think eagles are a good buy. I think eagles are a good. They're probably a doctrine change right now, more than likely. Okay, so that's the Ferrite carbide picture. Very similar to this picture is going to be the titanium carbide picture, which we are also calling as a buy. Same elements to the graph. Median price or mean price below the 5-day moving average, below the 20-day moving average. Cool says, keep in mind that CCP said that hack rebalance is coming after the March update. That's right. So soon, too. So soon. I can't remember the last time they had... Well, not really. It's not like they... Seems too soon. So, cool says, so there'll be demand later, too. Yeah, totally. I think so. I think if the balancing pass is reasonable, I think it will be, because right now it's not like, I mean, it's not like you would nerf hacks right now. At least I wouldn't think so. At least not as a general category. It'd be crazy to do. I mean, they're not used that much just outside of the Serbs. At least from what I've seen. I don't know what else happens outside of Robbie. Okay. But that's what I'm seeing. At least that's what I'm thinking. So same picture for the titanium carbide. It looks like it's got room to go down too. It really does. I'd be careful. So, what would be the indicator? Right? Oh man, it's about to flip, or it has flipped. Once you start seeing the mean price go above the 5-day moving average, I'd start really watching it. Until then, I would actually expect this kind of free fall for a little bit, just based on everything is just genuinely trending downwards. It's not meeting a balancing point yet. Cool says they're gonna get buffs probably. I hope so. This could be caused by introduction of high-sec moon mining. There is that too. But this volume though, I'm really surprised. I mean, that's a lot of extra supply that's making it to market if that's the case. Unimpeded supply at that. I mean, it's high-sec. War deck the corporation and destroy the refinery, right? Because you have to be in a corp to do this, right? If that is extra supply from high-sec, but the other pictures don't actually look like that. That's the one thing. The other does not. These are the ones. Well, I shouldn't say that. These are the ones that I picked out due to the very aggressive appearance in the graph. Is it happening as a general category? I don't think so. There's a lot of moons in high-sec. Yeah, there are. Totally. Yeah, there are. Alright, so I'm going to leave it at that. It looks like it's still got room to go down. Should you buy it right now? I'd be careful. I would wait until you start seeing the yellow... I'm sorry. I would at least wait until you start seeing the orange dot go above the blue line. Once you start seeing the orange dot go above the blue line, start considering buying it. Toxic says only in 0.5. Yep, totally. That's still a lot of systems though, man. Alright, actually, I don't need to look at that. The next one is Macarials. Sorry, we had a viewer that talked about Macarials right from the get-go. We're just now finally talking about it. Alright, Macarials as a buy. Macarials as a buy because it's showing buy signals. Alright, so similar to what we've seen so far. We got the mean price below the 5-day moving average, below the 20-day moving average. So classic buy signals. Cool says how oh, Toxic says, and a lot of the moon miners in high sec have to live with have to live with people stealing. Yeah, that's true. Who says how much you want to bet? Puppies are mining them everywhere, thinking bonanza. Probably. When you have no idea of the concept of how things cost, then yeah, you think everything's a boon, right? I would think, oh, it's free money. That's what I imagine. That's still how people think about it. So, well, Macaros are a buy right now because they're trending down. They're genuinely trending downwards, and due to the balance patches, it looks like there's going to be a module slot change coming up for the Macarial that should make it less powerful. So, yep, cool. It says Max has got a nerf as Fleet Warfare goes. Yep. So, so that's the fundamental analysis of why there's a sudden loss of demand for Macarials. People are like, Macarials not as good, sell it, and people in turn aren't buying it to counteract the action of people dumping it into buys. If that makes sense. Well, and then someone might say, oh, well, if it's bad now, why should I bother buying it? Because there's still going to be a demand for Macarials. Because at the end of the day, I mean, yeah, they've been nerfed, but have they been nerfed so hard where they will no longer be considered as fleet doctrine? I don't think so. I don't think so. The number 2 and number 3 picks may have gotten closer to the Macarial, whatever those are. But I don't think the Macarial is suddenly a heaping pile of garbage. I don't think so. Cool says Armor Max dead long live Shield Nanomax. Ooh, I don't know. That's the dream, right? Wicked says, how can you tell how many units are sold a day? So sold, you have to define what you mean by sold. I typically try not to use that term sold. I use the term traded. So an exchange of ISK and item have occurred, right? So let's take today, for example. Today, there were 9 orders filled and 9 items have exchanged hands based on this little pop-up thing here. Okay, so if you look at if you hover your mouse over the volume bars, which is in the bottom here, it'll tell you the number of orders that were fulfilled and the number of items that were exchanged. It doesn't actually tell you which one to buy, which one to sell. However, you can kind of have an idea of at least which had more action, buy or sell, based on the graph. So if the mean day price is below the 5-day moving average and 20-day moving average, it's fair assumption to say that more buy orders were met versus sell orders being met. Lucky A is asking, what is the price of Tempest fleet issues? Cheetah's actually a bad place to use to use as a reference for this, but like Minmatar space actually better. Not a lot of Minmatar fashion items actually, in volume at least, make it to Jita. Tempest fleet issue. There's definitely a big buy today in quantity. And right now it's sitting at 524 million Jita sell. It was like traded. Okay, yeah. I mean, yeah, you have to be very like the markets and productions and the language that's used by people who actually play this tends to be different from the language that's used by people who may not do this all the time, which is fine. That's fine. It's just being able to clear up that communication piece. That's all it is. KR4 just read some trend lines and resistance support levels. It'll be like swing trading, the real stuff. That's the dream? I don't know if CCP cares enough to do that. I don't think there's enough value in doing that, to be honest. I don't think there's enough value. Because then who would that affect? Like, it would affect us for sure, right? But we're a small, oddly enough, we're actually a very, very, very small part of the E population. As small as the E population already is. So I don't think there's enough value to actually make that change for us. But with that being said, for those who know how to actually look at these things, in-game graph's kind of enough, to be honest. I think it's enough. If you know how to make tools and stuff like that, I'm sure you can actually do that. You know, if you can pull the raw information via, you know, APIs and things like that. So, because LockFox did. if you know how to use R, I'm sure you can figure it out, right? Or there's a way to do it through R, right? The graphic program. So, totally, man. I get you. That's the dream, but I don't think CC would ever do that. There's not enough value. It's not enough value. I think they'd rather have the ability for us to make the tools be available versus them implementing it in-game. Alright, so that was all our buys of the week. Now we're going to go into our sells. Start off with the nitrogen isotopes. It pains me to see nitrogen isotopes in this price range. It absolutely pains me. Kula says they have way too much backlog of other stuff they need to fix. For real. Looking at you, Faction Warfare. Looking at you. Looking at you, Faction Warfare. I'd rather Faction Warfare be fixed, whatever that means. I'd rather War decks be fixed, whatever that means, versus messing around with market stuff. To be honest, I think that's a better improvement for the game overall versus like market graphs, honestly. Nitrogen isotopes. It pains me that it's this high. It pains me, man. So nitrogen isotopes. What is this for? This is for Caldari ships that use jump drives. Okay. So Caldari jump freighters, the RIA, Caldari carriers, Caldari super carriers, things like that. Is this indicative of like mass move ups? Probably. That's the only thing I can think of, man. I mean, I don't think Caldari carriers are a thing for doctrines. I don't think so. I've never seen one in space. In the last year, in the last 365 days, I've never seen. I don't even know what the fuck they're. I haven't seen a Phoenix. Haven't. So, you know, I think this is super indicative of move ops. People going, hey, pack up your stuff, load up your RIAs, we're going. That's what it looks like to me. So I myself have found myself in that position. Lucky says Phoenix are so good, hot dreads. Really? Oh, shadows I've seen playing today, Nightmare. Really? That's amazing. I personally just haven't seen one in space. I haven't. I honestly just haven't. But if you're telling me that they're actually out there being used, then there it is. There's your proof, right? There's added proof that these things are consuming items from the greater market, and we're able to determine that things that I said apparently that I physically have not seen, but you guys are seeing in large engagements. All right, good to go. I'll take that. Lucky Ace says they are undoubtedly the best hot dread. Maybe it's because I'm in Provi and we just don't use it, and that skews my perception, my vision of things, right? Like it says, their bonuses are best for rapid torps. Really? Wow. That kind of blows my mind. I'm not gonna lie. Shadow says, well, Imperium uses all sorts of caps at least. Yeah, totally. I get that. Like I said, my 10-man corp has bought 5 Phoenixes in the past month. Really? Should I be making Phoenixes? Is that something I should be bothering with? It's not. Okay, I think you guys are telling me I should be bothering with this. May have to actually train Rodin into this, at least to be able to move it around when my production character actually builds them. That's another 500 million ISK. Damn book. Shit. It is what it is. Look at this. Not in Provi. Who the fuck wants to drop 100 in Provi right now? That's so true. That's so true. That's actually really good to know that it's actually being used in other spaces. That's awesome. Because then that really gives me a better. It's talks like these guys that gives me ideas on where to look, and hopefully you guys are being able to get that from our discussions as well. You know. There's not a lot of platforms, I don't think, where market people can just sit around bullshit and throw ideas in the air and see what sticks. Alright, so that's the nitrogen isotope picture. Next one we're going to be going over. First, let's take a look at the nightmare. Again, this anything Amar, because this is off racial, you know, so a more accurate picture would have been to look at this in domain. But we're in JITA, so we'll take a look at it in JITA. So it's displaying cell signals right now. Who uses nightmares? Test uses nightmares. Is this a... I think this is a... This probably is a legacy coalition buy. Something tells me it is a legacy coalition buy. Yep. There's a genuine demand. So if you got nightmares right now that you can actually build and sell, like soon, I would probably work on that right now. How sustainable is this? It looks quite manic, actually. I mean, if you look at the Donjin channel, dude, that's huge. That's from what, 420 to, I don't know, like 510. It's crazy. Let's take a look. 457 to 509. That's totally flippable. Let's take a look. Let's take a look. 11% for something that costs this much is really, really good. So the nightmares are totally flippable. And if you have the blueprint, you should totally build it. Assuming that your blueprint was priced reasonably well, of course, right? That's the biggest cost factor to these builds, not so much the minerals. It's really not the minerals, it's the BPC cost. So Nightmare's a good sell right now. It's a good sell, but I think you should act pretty quickly on this. You should not sit on this right now. And finally, the Eagle. Holy, and I've talked about this several times already. We got our asses handed to us by Eagle fleets. I'm just gonna let that graph sit there for a little bit. This is a doctrine change. This is an absolute doctrine change. You're gonna have to convince me otherwise. But I really think this is a doctrine change. But who? Who switched to Eagles? Who did we fight? It's PL. it was it PL or was it Snake? I think it was Snake, actually, like actual Snake dudes. If I remember, I don't know. You know what? To be honest with you, I shouldn't even say. All I know is they were red. They were red to us. But yeah, I mean, I was surprised at their performance. Wasn't expecting it. I don't think we killed a single one. I honestly don't think we did. And we were sitting. We were engaged for a while there. We were just outclassed. But at this price point, I mean, if this is a genuine doctrine change, now mind you, because this is just what we can see in JITA, this doesn't take into account what's getting built and sold internally, right? I think it's fair to assume that it makes sense for hacks to become, at least in the interim, be like the ship of the month at least, right? Ship of the month status. And Eagles perform well. So really all I can say about that. And they perform well. And it's a solid ship. Hacks are a solid ship line right now. They really are. But then they have to. We have to. These have to be. These claims will have to be verified in combat. Lucky says assault frags in the ship of the month. Oh my god, for real. We called them like 2 weeks ago. So good. Those calls were so good. Is retribution best ship over? Yeah, told dude. Assault damage control plus the DC with the ship bonuses of the retry. Yes, absolutely. Yes. Totally digging it. Totally digging it. I mean, you can't use it. I'm pretty sure you can use it together, right? Because they're technically different items. If not, I mean, am I correct in saying that you can use the assault damage control plus a regular damage control? Or am I wrong in saying that? Lucky says I killed 2 rapid light caracals, a Dramiel, and a Cinnable solo. Oh my god! Your fit goes faster than a slicer and puts out almost 400 DPS at 18k. What? Oh my god, that's nasty. I don't think. Well, who else would have? I mean, the Harpy would have benefited from that, right? But then not nearly as much as something with armor resistance bonuses. So can you use an ADC plus a DC? Lucky. Or is one or the other? See, ADC acts like a normal damage control when it's off. Okay, it's one or the other. Okay, cool. All right. I mean, still, that's massive bonuses. I mean, especially for something that has armor resistance bonuses. So it sounds like it's that having that module is successful. It gets more people to use new stuff, right? Well, not new stuff. It's not like, oh my god, what are these assault frigates? We've had them forever. It's just they were displaced by the T3Ds, right? All right. Well, that's really all I got, guys. So what should I be? Oh, unfortunately, no show next week, guys, because I got due to work schedule conflict, I'm not gonna be around Tuesday. So we'll pick it up again in 2 weeks. Hopefully, in 2 weeks, I will have better news for you guys as far as my corporation and alliance and coalition space situation. Hopefully, I'm not gonna be a bum by then. Hopefully, I'll have better lighting. And that's really it. I can't think of anything else. Especially in 2 weeks. What should I would expect that. Hopefully, I'll be done with my Archon build. Hopefully, I would have sold off most of my Provi assets, and I would be in Legacy space, starting to get re-established. My intention is to basically buy everything new, buy everything fresh, sell off what I have, because if I can successfully transition over to elements of Legacy, then our old doctrines simply are not used. So they're useless there. So I'm gonna have to sell them. That's okay. That's okay. Besides that, I don't have a whole lot, guys. Thank you very much for joining me tonight. Really appreciate it. Great talks today. Learned something new about the ADC and the DC. So I've been corrected. That's okay. That's why I ask. Showed some good stuff. Hopefully, people make money on these calls. I really hope you guys do. Somebody needs to be making money off these. I sure as hell can't. I'm too busy moving myself around right now. Besides that, that's all I have, guys. Thanks again for being here, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. So no show next week because of work schedule, unfortunately. All right. Besides that, that's all I got. Hope you guys have a good one. Thanks a lot. See you guys.